Your turn, Yugi boy.
What is up, guys? This is Olympio coming at you today with a top 10 favorite cards from Shining Victories. Shining Victories is going to be legal next weekend or this weekend, depending on when you're watching it. If you're watching this in the future, then it is already legal. So I haven't done one of these in a very long time, simply because it takes so much time to actually edit and record these that I just don't have the time. But luckily, bank holiday weekend, let's record one of these just to show you what I'm looking forward to in this set. So coming in at number 10, we have Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. This is one of arguably the most hyped and most expensive cards of the set right now, sitting at about £40 or say like 60 American dollars. It's one of the highest rarities and the highest hyped card, with very good reason. It is a zombie tuner dark, level 3, 0 attack and 1800 defense. Basically its effect is during either player's turn, if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can discard a card, reveal one card in your extra deck, then look at your opponent's extra deck, banish your copies from their extra deck with the same name as the revealed card. You can only use it once per turn. So a lot of the times this is going to be used against Burning Abyss, for example, and also other things that will really heavily require a extra deck monster to function. So you reveal this against Burning Abyss, you reveal your own, say for example Dante, and you basically just win. If you banish all of their Dantes, it's basically game over, because most Burning Abyss decks won't play any cards that will retrieve a non-summoned Dante from the banish zone. It is very difficult to get around, and if you resolve a Ghost Reaper, then it's very difficult for your opponent to actually play, because you automatically turn off their Beatrices, you turn off their Dantes, you turn off everything like that, and it's just so good. It is actually game ending. The art of the card as well is really, really cool. I really do like it. Obviously, lolly people will enjoy it, but that's not why I like it. I just think it's such a cool artwork. It's really dark, as it is a zombie. The purple background on it's really nice. The scythe as well is just so sick. So I'm really happy how the artwork looks, and it's just a really great card. It's also like a tuner, but because it's a discard card, it's obviously a hand trap. I don't think anyone's really going to be using it as a tuner, but it is a level 3 tuner, dark as well, if you so wish. So I'm really looking forward to this. I don't know if I'm actually going to get a hold of it, if I am completely honest, simply because I don't know if I will use it, depending on what decks I actually want to play. It's really good in decks that you don't actually need your extra deck. So if you're playing with Cosmos and you go against Burning Abyss, you hardly use your extra deck. Just slap this in straight away. Performer Pals as well can really use this card, because just make the Burning Abyss matchup so much easier. And any decks that you go against that require that extra deck, and specifically boss monsters like Dante, or even an Ignista if you want to turn off your opponent's Ignista, it's just so good. And all you need to do is own this and a copy of that one card. And Dante is very easy to get hold of now with its gold reprint, and just in general being a pretty cheap card. So at number 10 it is Ghost Reaper Winter Cherries. Coming in at number 9, we have a Drowning Mirror Force, the other Mirror Force, the water version of it. We have had, obviously in previous one, the sand one, the desert you could say, with Quaking Mirror Force, and now we have Drowning Mirror Force. The reason why I like this card is because it's just such a ridiculously overpowered card, but for interesting reasons. So it is basically a normal trap card, and when your opponent declares a direct attack, shuffle all attack position monsters your opponent controls into the deck. It's an absolutely huge blowout card. Non-targeting is just insane. Obviously, none of the Mirror Forces really target. Shuffling all attack position monsters your opponent controls into the deck, back into the extra deck, back into the main deck, is just so huge. Quaking Mirror Force is really good because obviously it flips them all face down and they stay there because your opponent can't change the battle positions, but this one just outright removes them from the game, because you're more than likely going to be doing this on a very important card that they have, or boards that they do have if they're just trying to swing for game. It's just so good. The downside is that they do have to declare a direct attack. You cannot have any monsters on your side of the field for this to go ahead. However, it is used so much so in Yosenju. For Yosenju, monsters just aren't on the field in your opponent's turn. That's just basically the rule of thumb, because they obviously return in the end phase. And Drowning Mirror Force is just really a very important card for them. I feel that it's basically a 3 of in that deck, if not minimum 2, simply because you're going to be able to resolve it more times than anyone can. Maybe like a Ghost Trick, you could play it in this, but Ghost tricks obviously like to have your opponent have monsters so you can resolve some of your hand traps and such, but yeah, Yosenju really use this card. It's absolutely amazing and a really good one, so I'm looking forward to this. I'll probably eventually pick this up so I can redo my Yosenju deck profile with Card of Demise with this completely updated. And yeah, but Drowning Mirror Force is coming in at number 9. Coming in at number 8, we have Thunder King the Lightning Strike Kaiju. Really interesting kaiju. It's the obviously thunder one, and it just looks so badass. It's a light thunder level 9, 3,300 attack, 2,100 defense. Effect does follow. You can special summon this card to your opponent's side of the field in attack position by attributing one monster they control. Standard. If your opponent has a kaiju monster, you can special summon this card from your hand in attack position. Very, very simple stuff, usual stuff, and you can only control one. But its main effect is, once per turn, you can remove 3 kaiju counters from anywhere on the field. Your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated for the rest of the turn. And then, as well as that, this card can make up to 3 attacks on monsters your opponent controls each battle phase. Now, important thing, you have to activate and resolve the first effect, which is once per turn you have to remove 3 counters, then your opponent can't activate anything. Then, and only then, can you make 3 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. So it's very important to note you have to resolve that, otherwise you can't just say, I'm not going to do anything or negate anything, but I'm going to attack 3 times. So that isn't how that works, but it's still a really, really good card. Really nice for kaijus, and a 3/3 attack is just so huge. Level 9 is not too bad. If it was level 8, it gives more trade-in target fodder, but yeah, overall it's a really good card. Being able to negate anything that your opponent does in either player's turn, and then for the rest of the turn they cannot activate the effects is just really, really good. Now, important to note that the way it works is that when you remove, if you do it in like a chain link, your opponent activates a card effect or something, then you chain this effect, for example, it means that your opponent can still resolve that card because they have already activated that card effect. So that's a very important thing to remember, but from then on out they cannot activate any card effects for the rest of the turn. Really interesting card, really nice one. Kaijus is just growing and growing as a dark horse of the meta, in my opinion. Always one that a lot of people will struggle with, just the way that they just remove your boss monsters and then summon out their big ones. Many different ways you can run it with your Senjus, with Relinquish, so on and so forth. Just really solid card. Coming in at number 7, we have Lecter Pendulum, the Drac Overlord. Now you might say, hey, why are you even paying attention to this card? Well, there's a very important reason, and because it's a scale 5, it's just a really nice scale 5, and it means that Vector as well is pretty much replaced by this often than not, but let's get into it. It's a Dark Dragon Pendulum level 4 with 1950 attack and 0 defense, and its pendulum effect is negate the effects of all face-up pendulums while your opponent controls them, where they're simply the monsters, and then at the start of the damage step, if this card battles a pendulum monster, destroy both that monster and this card. So it's a very interesting one, but the reason why is because it's a nice addition for my counter fairies. I'm definitely going to be playing this one, been testing it out, it's been really, really nice. The 1950 is a very, very nice attack amount for such a card, and yeah, it's just nice because you can just suicide it into something and pop them both, which is pretty good. It's kind of like a Catastor effect, but slightly less prominent, simply because this will always die to a pendulum monster. Very simple like that. Coming in at number 6, we have Red Hot Dragon Archfiend King Calamity. Now, you might have seen a while back I did a Red Dragon Archfiend deck profile, and this was basically what was missing. In the V-Jumper originally, this is one of our imports, and it's an absolute boss. It's a Dark Dragon level 12, 4,000 attack, 3,500 defense. It requires 2 tuners and one non-Dark Dragon type Synchro monster. Its effect reads, when this card is Synchro summoned, you can activate this effect. For the rest of this turn, your opponent cannot activate card effects. Also, cards your opponent controls cannot activate their effects. So very important, it shuts down your opponent so you can go for some big swinging damage. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this effect's activation. So basically, they can respond to the summon of the card with, so for example, like a Solemn Warning, but they cannot activate things that would negate the actual effect, like Divine Wrath, so on and so forth. This card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. Nice little Volcasaurus effect there. If this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, either by battle or card effect, you can target one level 8 or lower Dark Dragon Synchro type monster in your graveyard, and then you can special summon it. So obviously the other red dragons you can bring back, but there are other different cards you can if you so wish, but more likely than not you're going to be bringing back the Red Dragon Archfiend, so you can keep going into this. Being a level 12 is not difficult to go into, even though it does require Dark Dragon Synchro monsters and 2 tuners. it's still not very difficult with the Resonator engine and all things like that. It's a really nice card. I'm really happy to see it come out. I'm quite excited to add it to my Red Dragon Archerine deck so I can do another profile of it. Coming in number 5, which you might have expected to be higher in the list, it is Red Eyes Toon Dragon. Red Eyes Toon Dragon, obviously, it's a toon, so it's going to be on this list at some point, but right now I'm not going to be using it simply because it's not really that great on its own. There aren't that many great cards you can special summon out from your hands, and it's a bit of a negative. It's a bit of a neg completely until you at least get the Toon Dark Magician, because then there is synergy with the level 7 builds. You can bring out the Toon Dark Magician very easily and then activate that effect as well. So it's a really solid card being a dragon level 7, obviously standard stats of the Red Eyes Dragon. It's very simple effects. Cannot attack turn it's summoned. While you control a toon world, opponent controls no toon monsters, you can attack directly. Once per turn, you can special summon one toon monster from your hand except itself, ignoring its summoning conditions. So you can get out some of those really annoying toon monsters very easily, and just in general, it's a nice card. As I said, I won't be using it right now, and I don't expect it to be used anytime soon. It's going to be used, hopefully, maybe when the Toon Dark Magician comes out in the following set in Dark Illusion. But yeah, so it's still really nice because it's nice to see more toons, but right now I'm not going to be using it. Next up we have Sage with Eyes of Blue. Bit of a different one, because normally you would say Sage Blue Eyes or something like that, but no. Sage with Eyes of Blue is number 4 on the list. It is a light spellcaster tuner level 1, 0 attack, 1500 defense, and its effect is very important. When this card is normal summoned, you can add one level 1 light tuner monster from your deck to your hand except itself. You can discard this card, then target one effect monster you control, send it to the graveyard, and if you do special summon one Blue Eyes monster from your deck, you can only use the effect once per turn. So there's some very interesting combos you can do with this. You can use it with the original Maiden to discard this, target the Maiden, then special summon the Blue Eyes out, then special summon another one. So there's a nice easy ways to get lots of Blue Eyes on the field. But the reason why I'm really looking forward to this is because it is a missing link in my Buster Blader engine. So basically you'll summon this and then search out the companion of the Buster Destruction, which is obviously with the Buster Blader engine. Then you would normal summon again the companion, simply because of the field spell. You can normal summon an extra level 1 light, and then you just go ham, because then you can, if you hopefully have a Buster Blader in your hand, then you contribute the Buster Blader, bring out the Buster Blader, then Synchro up because there's level 7 and a level 1 tuner with Sage, which is still in the field, go into different things, but mainly the Buster Dragon, and then you can bring another Buster Blader back from the graveyard that you just used as a Synchro summon. So there's a lot of different combos you can do with this. The Sage engine is really nice. I'm really looking forward to it, and that's why it is on this list at number 4, because I cannot wait to do the Buster Blader deck. Next up we have a Stardust Scythe Divine Dragon. Been waiting for this card for a while. It's a really nice replacement for Quasar Dragon. It depends if you want to use it or not. The big thing, same summoning requirements as Quasar, but some of the important things are that the first time each card you control would be destroyed this turn by battle or card effect is not destroyed. So every card you have on your side of the field is protected by this one card, including itself. Then once per turn during the player's turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can negate that effect, and if you do, destroy one card on the field. It's really nice because it means that you can negate that effect, but then you can destroy any other card on the field. So it gives you a bit more flexibility, and just means that, you know, with Quasar just negating anything, it's just really good, because some people will try and obviously bait out the Quasar negate, and then you're basically a sitting duck with Quasar. But with this card, it simply means that you can negate a card effect and destroy something else that your opponent might be trying to use as a combo piece to get the card off the field. You can then banish the card in the graveyard, then target one level 8 or lower Stardust monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So it's a shame that it's only level 8 or lower. It'd be nice if it was like level 10 or lower, something that was just a little bit higher. Obviously this is done, so you can't just keep bringing these cards out and just kind of looping a little bit, but either way, it's really nice to see the card released, and I'll certainly be doing a deck profile with this updated. Coming in at number 2, we have Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. I've been waiting for this card for such a long time, simply because I absolutely love it. Ever since I saw it was announced months and months ago for the set, and the cover card is just so awesome. It's a Wind Dragon level 8 Synchro, and it requires one tuner or one or more non-Synchro monsters. Very important there. So it's generic, but you just need a Synchro monster to be used with it. Once per turn during the player's turn, when another monster's effect is activated, you can negate the activation if you do destroy that monster, and then if you do, this card gains attack equal to the destroyed monster's original attack until the end phase. So it's really, really nice. You negate any monster effect that you want, and then you gain the attack, which is really, really big, because especially if you do it in your opponent's turn, it then makes it harder for your opponent to get over it, at least by battle. If this card battles a level 5 or higher monster your opponent controls, during damage calculation, this card gains attack equal to the current attack of your opponent's monster that is battling during damage calc only. Just for example, if your opponent activates a monster effect in your turn, you negate it, and then if you attack a level 5 or higher monster your opponent controls, you gain the attack as well. So you're gaining double attack depending on what your opponent's monsters you're negating or battling with are. So it's a really, really nice card, really powerful one, definitely a one of in a lot of decks, and just in general, really easy to go into. You can go into this with Quick Draw, with Yangzings, with basically anything that has access to synchros and tuners. Really solid card, really nice one, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. And then finally, number 1. Yes, you guessed it, I'm pretty sure everyone called this, but it is the most amazing card in the set. I've been waiting for this for a while. It is World Carrot Weight Champion. This card is just so good. 19 attack, a carrot that is a world champion. It's just really awesome with a plant level 4. No one falling for this? Okay, yeah, it's pretty obvious that it wasn't going to be this one. So it's obviously at my number 1 spot. It is pre-preparation of rights. How can this card not be my number 1 spot? It's probably an anticlimax because people probably knew we would be there. What can I say? Add 1 spell card, add 1 ritual spell card from your deck to your hand, then add 1 ritual monster from your deck or your graveyard to your hand whose name is listed on that ritual spell, only activated once per turn. We all knew this card was going to be coming out and instantly me getting 3 of. It's just confirmed as a super rare in the actual set, which I was really surprised at. I thought it'd be quite higher considering Urgent Ritual Art, the trap card, was a secret. I would have thought this would have been a secret as well, but never mind, I don't really mind. Super rare goes with Preparation of Rights are also supers, so kind of goes with that, I guess. But yeah, it's just so amazing being able to put this deck, being able to put this card in Herald, being able to put it in Relinquish, being able to put it in Demise OTK even, that I'm going to try and rebuild once more. There are just so many different applications this card can be put in. The problem with this card is simply you cannot get a monster that isn't listed on the ritual card. So basically, if the spell, ritual spell says you can summon like a Necros monster, doesn't count. You can't search for Necros because basically it has to have the exact name on there. That's why you can't special summon the new Blackluster Soldier cards. You have to have the original one, which isn't too bad for that deck because, you know, you can just use the original Blackluster Soldier, no problem at all. But it is a bit of a pain that I can't search certain cards. It'd be really nice if I could search, you know, like Advanced Ritual Art from a Herald, but you can't do that. So it actually hinders a lot of decks not being able to use Advanced Ritual Art. You have to either go with this engine or go with the Advanced Ritual Art engine, which is really difficult, but either way. So Pre-Preparation of Rights is obviously going to be my top card. Cannot wait to get my hands on it and start showing you what ideas I've got. There's just going to be so many ritual deck profiles that I'm going to be doing. Hopefully I can get them all done for you. So that is the list. That is my top 10. I hope you did enjoy it. Let me know down in the comment section below what your either top 5 or top 10 cards are, because obviously top 10 is quite a lot. So as I said, let me know down in the comment section below. Make sure to give me a like if you did enjoy this video. It does take a lot of time for me to do. So if you did enjoy it, I'd really appreciate you mashing that like button so I know to do them more often and make sure it is a priority on my video list. So as I said, let me know down in the comment section below. Make sure to give me a like, comment, subscribe, and I shall catch you guys later.